Welcome to our very first episode of the Joyful Badass Podcast, the space where joy meets power and purpose. I'm Shenelle, your host, business therapist, coach, and unapologetic champion for living boldly and authentically. Here we're all about embracing the fullness of who you are, breaking barriers, smashing doubts, and celebrating your unique badassery. Whether you're building a business, healing your spirit, or just leveling up in your life, this is your weekly dose of inspiration, tools, and real talk to help you thrive unapologetically. So, today we're going to be diving into something we all need, but often forget that we have: resilience. That's right. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back, it's about leveling up every time life tries to knock you down. I want you to stop a second. I want you to think about how many times you've had to dust yourself off and pick yourself up after life has knocked you down. I'll give you a minute. Do you remember what was in you that said, get up? Do you remember who you were in that moment that allowed that knockdown to happen? That side swipe to come in because you didn't see it coming. I want you to embody that person, that being, that level of you, because we're taking her higher. We're taking you to a space in which that doesn't have to be the story, but the lesson. And now you're soaring. So grab your coffee, your journal, or just sit back, because we're about to unlock your inner superhero. Resilience is your superpower, and today I'm going to show you how to harness it. Let's talk about the basics, right? What is resilience? Resilience is the ability to adapt and recover when life throws you curveballs. It's not just about enduring, it's actually about thriving. It's the reason you can take a hit, catch your breath, dust yourself off, and keep it moving. So here's the thing: resilience isn't just about never feeling pain or frustration. It's about allowing yourself to feel, process, and grow. I think this has been probably one of the biggest lessons for me in my life and career. So I was a mental health therapist from the time I was 25 years old. Okay. And many people would be like, you're 25, you know nothing. What are we talking about? How are you being a therapist? Well, I was, because I'm a badass. I thought you knew. Um, and throughout my life, I've had so many people doubt me simply because I identify as a Black, Caribbean, Latina. Okay. Many rooms I was in, I was the only person of color in that room. Many times I was the only Black woman in that room. My way of dealing with life looks very, very different than the mainstream. Not only because I'm Black, but also because I have a Caribbean mother, which in the Caribbean, things look a little bit different as well. I think having that background, though, allowed me to really be able to be resilient, because things roll off my back, and the things that I needed to take to heart, I took to heart. I learned over time how to address those things, and that was my resiliency points. Keeping in mind, it's not always perfect, but I knew that walking into business situations, who I was not going to be validated or seen, right? It's only within the last, I would say, 5 years that I've really embodied this space of not only joy, but being able to take up space unapologetically. Okay. I've always been a person who will tell you about yourself, but I've always been quiet and reserved as well. And so when I do tell you about yourself, it comes out of left field and, oh my gosh, that I'm the problem, right? I've had to learn that no, I'm not the problem. But I also had to learn that instead of letting the small things slide early on, I needed to address them along the way. And so sometimes I had to go back and autocorrect and do some things that had been lingering for a long time. But that is my resiliency point, right? Um, there have been many times that people talk to me like they have lost their minds. And instead of me losing my mind, I look at them and I said, okay, that sounds like a personal problem. I don't have to take that on. That is my resiliency moment, because I no longer am fighting the battles of others. I'm allowing them to hold on to their own projections. And I have healed, which is really important, so that I can move forward. I don't see people as bad people. I just see people as making bad choices. I also see people a lot more clearer than what I did before. And that is my healing moment. That was the process, and there is the growth, right? Not all of those times feel great. And I know that we would really love to be like, oh my gosh, I'm celebrated all the time. But sometimes we have to address the things that are holding us back. You know, a lot of times my fear was holding me back. I didn't feel like I could step out and do the things I really wanted to do because I was scared. Um, and within the last few years, I've really been pushed out of that comfort zone, which feels absolutely amazing now that I'm out of it. I'm like, why did we do that? Why were you so quiet? Why were you so shy? Why were you so afraid to be? And now I can be because I've done the process. In business, the exact same thing. And it took really until I signed up with a business coach to really see how my quietness, my shyness was holding me back in fear. Um, it was strangling my business. Um, my business that I pour so much love into, but nobody really knew about. So how are you going to support me, right? My business that I can sit and be the creative genius behind so many things because I've been a therapist for so long. But if nobody knows about them, once again, how are we supporting? How are you building a business if nobody knows, right? Well, okay, fine. I have had clients walk away from me because I wasn't a good fit. And at times that felt very personal because the work I do is very personal. Today, I go, it's okay that I'm not a good fit for you. Because it is. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. The way that I do work is not for everyone, and that's okay too. Because I am a firm believer of if you are paying for something, make sure that it's fit for you, right? So I can't say that and then have an attitude if somebody it doesn't fit for them, right? That's fine. That's fine. Cool. But those are my resiliency points. Those are the points in which I didn't let life say, I'm not good enough, and so I'm going to stop. No, I reworked the plan and I got back to work. Um, as a matter of fact, I'm building a whole new arm of my business, which is what this podcast is birthed out of, which has taken a lot of energy and creative juices, but it's also stretched me because there are things I don't know. And that I'm just now beginning to understand and put into place. And if I wasn't resilient, if I didn't know how to like dust off the fact that nobody has signed up for a webinar that I had or an event that I put on, or, I've only had a few purchases of a mindset journal I created, like those things could stop you. But instead, I'm like, I see the positive in that. I see the progress in that. I put myself out. I did the marketing. I made videos and put them on social media. I'm here doing this amazing podcast that I've been wanting to do for over a year and a half, but have been scared shitless to do. But here we are because I didn't know what I wanted to say, right? And now I'm at a space where I'm like, honey, you're a joyful badass. Entrepreneurial wellness and empowerment are the things that are your bread and butter. They're the things that are your passion and fuel you. So allow that space to cultivate in the work you're doing and put it out to the world. So here we are, right? So it has not come without challenges. And I know that was just a brief description of some of the things that, that self-doubt showed up, or imposter syndrome showed up, or my perfectionism showed up, because they've all been there. And I now know how to check them because I am a resilient, joyful badass. Okay. I had to take a step back. I had to heal. I had to understand why it is that I was doing things the way that I was doing them in my waking life, my personal life, so that it could stop affecting my business life. And the minute I started to step out of my fear, life started to change. Things got better. And the things that weren't supposed to be there fell away. And I no longer had to be challenged by things that were holding me back. And instead, I could live in a space of freedom that I've never experienced in my life, but trust and believe I will never go back to. So I just want you to think about where resilience can get you in terms of your purpose, your why, and living as joyfully as you choose. So let's talk about building your resilience muscle. This is actually easier than you think. I know you're like, why do I need more work, right? I'm already exhausted. I'm tired. I don't want to. But this is the foundation right here that is going to help you to level up. Okay. Because things that happen that are unexpected or you feel are bad are no longer going to hold you down. You're going to see it. You're going to be able to deal with it. And then you're going to learn from it and be able to move forward. Okay. So here are some ways that you can train your superpower. Okay. So, first is to rest and reset. And yes, I said rest. Let's start there. Okay. So, resilience isn't about grinding 24/7, 365, no matter what the narrative tells you. Okay. It's about you knowing when to pause and knowing that rest is super duper productive. Okay. We live in a society where we talk about go, 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 go. And if, everything is so competition based. Well, guess what? My competition is myself, right? And if I'm burnt out, and if I'm exhausted, and I'm trying to pour from an empty cup, I can assure you that my work is going to be crap, period, because I don't want to do it and I don't have the energy to do it well, right? So I can take some time and remove myself and rest so that number one, I can reset and be more motivated and more passionate about the work that I'm doing because that's what matters to me, right? We talk so much about the hustle and bustle of life and the grind culture and things like that, but we don't talk about a rest culture. I am much better, much more motivated, much more passionate, much more thoughtful and intentional about my work when I rest. Rest is actually a part of my day, okay? Whether it be at my lunchtime, which is planned every day of the week, whether it is on the weekend. I don't overbook myself because there were times where I was go, go, go nonstop. And for what purpose? Only God knows. But it is not only revitalizing, but it also gives me much more energy to do the things that I'm passionate about and the things that I love. Okay. Give your mind the space to reset and recalibrate. It is essential for your success. I don't want something that has the energy of yuck and I don't want to in it. Think about that. Okay. I'm an energy human being. So I really do think about when I am working on digital products, when I'm working on courses, when I'm working on trainings, when I'm working on speaking engagements. If I'm exhausted and I'm trying to write or put my energy into that, I know that I'm coming back on a day that I am rested to revisit that because that is not the energy that I want to give anybody that I'm that is witnessing my work, right? So just kind of think about that, right? So plan your breaks. Take them without apologizing for it, okay? Um, if you need a day off, take it. The work will still be there, okay? Like it's okay. Go for a walk. Actually being in nature is healing all on its own, but activating your dopamine receptors in movement will also help you to kind of reset as well. We're going to start prioritizing our well being before any and everything else so that we can be at our best for the things that we choose to participate in. Okay. Second, we are going to reframe challenges as opportunities. Okay. Because there's going to be a lot of challenges. There's a lot of things you don't know. So that right there is going to put a challenge in your way. What are you going to do? Sit down and cry? Probably not. Right. So we have to look at that challenge as an opportunity to learn and grow in any way and capacity that it shows up. Okay. So what if I told you that every obstacle is an opportunity in disguise, right? So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this teaching me? What do I gain to learn from this experience? Okay. So if a client ghosts you, maybe it's a chance to redefine your ideal client profile, right? Maybe you didn't hit your sales goal. So maybe it's time to rework that strategy. Those things apply to your personal life as well, right? So I thought I was going to be able to make sporting team and I didn't. That means I'm a bad player. No. It means that like I have the opportunity to work and develop my skills so that I can get there, right? Like we have to look at all of the things that are our setbacks, not only as protection and redirection, but an opportunity to level up. I think we sometimes forget and get lost in the whole hustle and bustle because it's not quick culture, right? When we are trying to level up ourselves and find our worth and see that we have purpose in this world, that's hard work. It's not instantaneous. It takes our consistency. Well, the same thing goes for business. It still takes consistency. I can't just say, hey, I have a product and everybody should buy it. I mean, I feel that way, but I have to do the work behind it, which creates the opportunities for me to be in front of people and sell my product, right? To scale my business. So we just have to, at the end of the day, reframe those challenges into opportunities, which is a mindset shift, right? And so that also is another level of work, not things that are instant gratification, but shifting your mindset from scarcity to abundance allows you to be able to look at the opportunities that are in front of you and not just be so pigeonholed on, I have to have it this way in my own timing, because that's not how this world works, right? Next, we're going to work on building a support system, right? So no superhero goes in it alone, and neither should you. So surround yourself with people who can uplift you and inspire you in many areas, right? So I once made the mistake and I had a great friend tell me this. And I was like, this is so important because I had never thought about it. I had never thought about expanding my support circle past my emotional support, right? And that's why I say have a support circle with many people in it. So we want to do it basically just looks like, what is it that I am looking for? Okay. So if it's just in my personal life and I want to build my self worth, I want to feel that I am walking in purpose and that I have the opportunity to take up space. If that's my goal, then I want my friends around me, my supports around me, whether mentors or community or support groups or therapists, etc. I want people around me who pour into me but tell me the truth. And I also have to be ready to receive the truth because truth hurts, but it's also those truthful moments from people who you know are supportive that allow you to grow, right? In a business world, I need more than just emotional support. I might need mentors in business. I might need mentors in finance. I might need mentors in you know, really scaling things, different little tactics, things like that. So I need to make sure that not only do I have the social support, but I have people and I'm networking with people who understand where I'm headed. And that can be somebody too, I will say, like a business coach that you pay, or just business coaching buddies. I have a lot of business coaching buddies from my business coaching program that I took. And I was a participant in that program before I went and did the training. But so many ideas and wells of knowledge are around you. It's just about tapping in and asking questions and being confident enough to not to say that I don't know. Because many of us are scared into I should know versus I have no idea and I need to ask somebody. I've done my research, I've Googled, I've used ChatGPT, whatever that looks like, and I still don't have the answers. And so I just kind of need some support. All of that is okay. And that is what that supportive system is there for. They are there to hold you up. They are there to support you. They are there to cheer you on. But you've got to be the charge and be the leader of that. Okay. And lastly, we are going to celebrate wins. I think this is a big piece that we sometimes forget um, because we haven't gotten the big thing yet, right? But I make sure to celebrate my small wins every single day. Okay. So today, my small win is that I sat down and I recorded this podcast episode. And I'm super excited. I've been super excited. Life has gotten in the way, but I'm like, nope, today we're carving out the time to make it happen. Okay. So today, this is my small win. Okay. You don't have to wait for the big milestones because we have no idea when those are coming. And if we wait for that, we're going to be depleted by the time it gets there. And so then it's going to be dread and like, not dread, but just that negative, like, oh God, thank God it's done versus, oh my gosh, I'm so excited it's finished and I'm so ready for the world. I'm ready to give it to the world. Right. um, when you are celebrating every step of the way, it allows you to keep moving forward. So set the small goals so that you have small celebrations to go through, right? So this was a buildup. Okay. So I completed a course, which took me months to do. Okay. I edited another course that I wrote about a year and a half ago, and I was able to put those two things on the market within a few weeks of each other. And it took a long time to kind of formulate where I was trying to head with this course. But now it's done. And so every time I finished a section of that course, I cheered myself on. Every time I had clarity, I cheered myself on. Anytime that I was like, I'm moving one step closer to the completion of this. And mind you, in the middle of that, I was like, oh, I really want a mindset journal to go with this. So then I stopped and created another project within that project. Is that wise? Probably not, but that's how my brain was working. And so that's what we did. But I was able to go, okay, this piece of it is out. Like, this is really important information. And I'm really proud of the work that I've done. And I've done it in a energy of great passion and like love. And so we're going to celebrate that. Every celebration doesn't have to be a big thing. I don't have to like go out and treat myself to a 5-course dinner that's going to cost me buku dollars. I don't have to take a trip around the world every time I have a small win. No, but I'm going to pat myself on the back and be like, girl, you did that. Pop your collar. Absolutely. We are going to do that. I'm going to walk outside. I'm going to do a dance outside in nature in the sun, and I'm going to spin and be like, hey, girl, hey, girl, hey, give myself a little chant. Whatever works for you, just make sure you are doing it. Okay. Those are the things that are going to keep you going. Okay. So now I want you to think about one challenge that you have overcome recently. Celebrate it. Give yourself a pat on that back. Tell yourself you can do it, whether in life and working on your self-worth so that you can be a joyful badass, or working on your business so you can be a joyful badass entrepreneur. Just do it. What is your purpose? Your purpose is why we are building that resilience muscle, right? Purpose refers to the reason why something exists or is being done. It's the guiding intention or the aim that gives you direction and meaning to the actions, goals, or life itself. In a personal sense, purpose is often connected to one's values, passions, or long-term visions. It's a driving force that helps you to stay organized and focused, find fulfillment, and make choices aligned with your deeper aspirations. So, how does that connect to resilience? Resilience is the fuel that keeps you moving forward towards your goals no matter what. So, before we go any further, I want you to stop and I want you to think about, what is your purpose? Why are you listening to this podcast? What sparked your interest, right? Is it because I want more self-worth? Is it because I want to be able to love myself unapologetically? Is it because I want to be able to set boundaries? Is it because I want support around not feeling alone in my business endeavors? Is it because I just feel lost and I'm feeling defeated around being an entrepreneur? What is it, right? Why are we listening to this particular podcast, right? For me, why I created this podcast is, one, because I feel like everybody should be a joyful badass. I will tell you in another episode around how this podcast got named, but I find that finding joy in the things that I do and the work that I do makes me a way more passionate and really aligned with the purpose of wellness, right? And so wellness for me looks many different ways. It looks like improving my self-worth, making sure that my mental health is stable, but also having really good work-life balance as an entrepreneur. It does not mean that everything is perfect in my world, because it's not. I have a lot of challenges because I'm human, right? However, I know that the purpose of bringing joy and light and empowerment to the world, whether you are a woman who just doesn't feel seen, or a Black woman who desires to take up space, or um, just a person just needing some inspiration, an entrepreneur who needs a helping hand or a pat on the back or a warm hug through my voice. That is my purpose, right? Our motto is, this is where joy fuels your journey and badassery sets the tone. If I know that I am setting a tone of badassery, I know that I can do anything. And joy is going to feel the purpose behind that badassery. So I just want you to take some time and really think about your purpose in life, not just for listening to this podcast, but in life. What are you desiring and what do you feel like you're lacking, so that we can make sure that we're fueling into that, right? So I also want you to think, I want you to speak to yourself as though you already are. We're going to talk a little bit about, your mantra and your affirmations just briefly, because what we think we create, what we tell ourselves we are embodying. And so there goes that mind shift again as well. Okay. That doesn't mean stuff doesn't come up, because it does. And it's good that it comes up, because it allows us to once again grow. Um, but I want you to begin to tell yourself about your future self. Okay. In today, let's start talking about how unstoppable you are, right? So I want you to practice this mantra. You can write your own. You can use this one. You can find other affirmations that fit what your needs are, because I'm just speaking to the general public at this moment, right? Like, I don't know you one-on-one. Love to get to know you one-on-one, and that's okay too. But let's talk about a mantra. So I am unstoppable. Every challenge makes me stronger. My purpose is bigger than my pain. Okay. So you can craft that. That's just like an example that you can use to begin your day. Okay. Do this in the mirror. Look at yourself in the eyes and set yourself um, on a trajectory to be accountable to yourself and to ground yourself. When you look at yourself in the mirror, you are grounding yourself in this new truth. Okay. It's really, really important. Okay. Your purpose is what gives you clarity when life feels chaotic. When you are clear on your why, it becomes easier to keep going, even when the road gets bumpy, because it undoubtedly will. It does not have to be a stop sign. Think about it as a yield. Okay. So here's another question for you. What is your why? What is your mission that gets you out of bed, even on the hard days? Write it down and own it. Pour into that why. Okay. Like I just shared, my why for this was really just creating a space to be a joyful badass, to be a voice that you can understand that joy is that fuel for your journey, and that badassery sets that tone. We are all joyful badasses. Period, point blank. I have no doubt in that. It's just about how you use your superpower. Okay. I will tell you that I sometimes get scared. You know, I've been out in the social media world for a few years now, but I always remember going back to starting that first video. It took me the longest time to hop on social media on a video, where people could see my face, where I had to be myself. And this was hard for me. At my training, I am a mental health therapist. Seen and not heard, right? I'm a middle child, once again, seen and not heard. So this has been like my whole life's foundation of being seen, but not heard, or maybe not even being seen, right? So it was really difficult for me to step out of the shadows and really put myself out there until I did it. And then I just kept doing it, and it got easier. And now I'm at a level where I'm starting a podcast. Please ask me if I know anything about starting a podcast. The answer is no, but here we are. I have no idea if anybody will listen. I have no idea if this is the thing that people need. It feels like the things that people need, because I've always been the observer. I know the questions that I've always wanted answered, but been too scared to ask. Um, I've always wanted a space of motivation and maybe didn't have that. And so this is where all of that training of being a mental health therapist, being a trauma trained therapist, doing my own work on myself, and really coming through the depths of the darkness has landed me. And that is why, I can say truthfully, I am a joyful badass. Life continues to life because it will, but I definitely attack it in a different way. Um, and so I want to encourage you to step out on your why and really live and embody that. And like I said, I'm speaking to people who need empowerment, people who are entrepreneurs and are feeling isolated and unsure. Like, these are important reasons for your why. You don't have to be an entrepreneur to have a why either. Okay. You living and existing has to have a why, because if not, then you're miserable. And so who wants to live like that? So I'm just going to encourage you to understand what your why is and walk in the values aligned with it so that you can feel like a badass. All right, my joyful badasses, let's wrap this up and take some action steps. So I hope over our time together, you have learned a little bit about resilience and how to build your resilience muscle in order for it to be aligned with your why and your purpose. Okay. So first and foremost, I want you to take a resilience inventory. I want you to write down 3 times that you've overcome challenges. And this doesn't have to be recent. It could be through your life. Um, and I want you to note how you healed and then moved forward. So that you can celebrate those moments and remind yourself that you've got this. Okay. Next, I want you to set a micro goal. Okay. So pick one small actionable step that you can take today to move yourself closer to your purpose. Okay. And once again, in life and or in business, these things matter. And sometimes if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to need to do both of these things for your personal life and your business because they are intricately wound together. Okay. And then last, I want you to affirm your power. So each day, start off with an affirmation. I am, and you are. Okay. And I say that to say it both ways. We're talking to the inner self that needs some motivation, but also to our present body. So if I am resilient, you are resilient. I'm saying it both ways. I am powerful. You are powerful. I am capable of greatness. You are capable of greatness. Okay. See how that feels in your body. And as you continue to be consistent about saying affirmations, does that change your mindset any? Does it change your motivation any? Just take a look. Okay. So please remember that resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's about rising higher. You've got everything you need inside of you to thrive. Believe in yourself. Okay. Believe in yourself. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Joyful Badass podcast. Resilience is my superpower. Leave a review, share this episode with somebody who needs a little extra resilience in their life. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, keep walking in your purpose and being a joyful badass as you are. Bye, boo.